I don't normally do these videos, but with an election coming up, I have to, because what happened on the Long Island Railroad tonight is just a classic example of Elisa Picca, who you see pictured here, giving preferential treatment to the Babylon branch. What happened tonight was a perfect example of that. And why do you say that? Well, because there was another problem on the Atlantic branch, which relates to the neglect of certain parts of the railroad, because Elisa Picca wants to give preferential treatment. But the main reason why what happened tonight was there were a number of train cancellations, and no Babylon trains were canceled. Not one Babylon train was canceled. Almost every other branch had to deal with cancellations. But this is because Elisa Picca was put in place by Patrick Nowakowski. Remember Patrick Nowakowski? Well, his presence, even though he no longer is physically in the building and works with the Long Island Railroad anymore, his presence is still there through Elisa Picca. Because the same kind of people that Patrick Nowakowski catered to are the same kind of people Elisa Picca is catering to. All right? That white finance professional demographic. And today was chaos because they wound up canceling a number of trains at Jamaica and canceling them, and then people had to transfer at Jamaica. Jamaica was overcrowded, and once again, the flyers passed through without stopping to accommodate anyone. Because after all, those people, they don't want to share their train. They want to have their own special train. So let's take a look at see what happened tonight. Let's talk about what happened tonight on the trains. And I don't normally do this, but this is just another clear example of exactly what's going on at the MTA and what you need to do on Election Day. So here we go with the cancellations. There was a problem on the Atlantic branch, once again, due to signal trouble near East New York. Now, every other day there's been problems on the Atlantic branch. It's being neglected just like the main line, because anything that's not the Babylon branch is being neglected. So the first cancellation was the 506 Atlantic Terminal due to West Hampton at 5:53. Then the next cancellation, 519 from Atlantic Terminal due in Hempstead 608, canceled due to signal trouble near East New York. Customers can take the 523 from Atlantic Terminal due in Babylon at 636 and transfer at Jamaica. And then there were some late trains, and then the 540 from Atlantic Terminal due in Long Beach, 632. Customers can take the 5:45 p.m. from Atlantic Terminal due in Babylon and then transfer at Jamaica due to the train due in Long Beach at 6:49. It's almost a 20-minute delay for them. And then one train had to add a stop in Valley Stream. Another train had to add a stop in Babylon. They did try to accommodate people at Mineola and Syosset, Cold Spring Harbor, and Huntington due to this delay, but 604 from Atlantic Terminal due in Ronkonkoma. This is the worst one of all. 604 from Atlantic Terminal due in Ronkonkoma, 727, is canceled due to signal trouble East New York. Customers can take the 607 Babylon train from Atlantic Terminal and transfer at Jamaica for the 641 train to Ronkonkoma. Now, this train, the 641 to Ronkonkoma, is already a crush-loaded train when I've seen it pull into Hicksville numerous times. I can't even imagine it. I don't think even everybody was able to fit on that train. All right? I don't think people were even able to fit on it. All right? Every Ronkonkoma train is crowded. You can't cancel Ronkonkoma trains. Why didn't they cancel the 607 to Babylon? That's what they should have done, but no, they can't do that. And then they canceled a reverse peak train, Jamaica due in Atlantic Terminal, and everybody got screwed and missed part of the Islanders game there. 529 was running 21 minutes late. It's funny how none of the Babylon trains are running as late as the mainline trains that are coming out of there. That's quite of interesting. So 15 to 20 minute eastbound delays, 15 to 20 minute eastbound delays. All the Oyster Bay trains making stops at Mineola, currently experiencing eastbound delays. Oyster Bay branch trains have resumed normal stopping patterns and no longer make additional stops. I think that's it for the cancellations. All right, so let's look at a pie chart of the level of service that comes out of Atlantic and the PM rush. And you can see Babylon gets the most trains. It's tied with Far Rockaway. They also get a lot. It's interesting that the branches that got the most train service out of Atlantic and the PM rush didn't have any cancellations. Meanwhile, every other branch you see here had a cancellation of service, which is ridiculous. All right, Babylon gets the most trains. Why didn't they cancel any Babylon trains? And let me tell you, those Babylon trains out of Atlantic, they don't get that crowded. They don't get that crowded. There's plenty of seats on them. I've gotten on them at Rockville Center, and there's plenty of seats. There's plenty of seats. But, you know, those people, they don't want to share their, they don't want to have the train canceled and then have the flyers stop at Jamaica, because those people on the flyers have their own little private little express train that they can be with their own kind, and they don't want to share it. Even though it's public transportation, they have their own private trains. And because of the demographics, this white finance professional demographic gets the preferential treatment. That's why Wantagh looks so nice, because they get the preferential treatment, because they have control of the MTA. And who has control of the MTA? Governor Andrew Cuomo. That's who has. These are the kind of people Governor Andrew Cuomo supports. All right, this is what corporate Democrats are all about, supporting this class of people while the rest of us get treated with overcrowded trains and constant problems. This preferential treatment has to come to an end. And if you're really upset about the situation with the Long Island Railroad and the preferential treatment, then you have to remember to vote out Governor Andrew Cuomo on Election Day. And I want to say a couple of comments about the debate that I saw last night. I finally did get to see it shortly after... I'd say they put it up finally around after 10 o'clock last night. But I got to see it, and Cuomo was extremely condescending, extremely arrogant, extremely obnoxious. It's not appropriate for a governor to behave the way he did last night. And it just goes to show you just how bad Cuomo was for New York. And now, if we get 4 more years, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, the problems. And people like me are going to get squeezed out. We're going to get squeezed out. That's what he wants. He wants to give all of his white-collar, white finance professional friends the best, while we get to deal with crappy train service, bums, crime, and constant problems, while they continue to get the best. And that's what they want. That's what they want. So that's what Cuomo represents. He represents Wall Street. He represents the snobs. He does not represent us. And if you don't really see... what else can I tell you? That's why I put this video together, because it's just more proof. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. But we have an election coming up, and this is just another example. Cuomo's MTA. He controls the MTA. He controls the MTA, all right? He is the one. He and his friends on the MTA board are the reason why Elisa Picca has not been fired yet. They put in Phil Eng, and Phil Eng's a good guy. He means well, but he cannot do what he needs to do, because he has Elisa Picca and his Wall Street and the Wall Street bloc on the MTA board looking over his shoulder to make sure he doesn't mess with the Babylon branch, doesn't fire Elisa Picca. And I really wish Phil Eng would fire Elisa Picca. So this is why we have to go to MTA board meetings and speak up, but we also have to vote on Election Day and remember what Cuomo is really all about. Cuomo is a disaster for the state. The problems on the trains, he's all part of it. We didn't have so many problems on our trains until Cuomo became our governor, and it can be directly attributed to him. He controls the MTA. It is Cuomo's MTA. Remember that on Election Day. And thank you for watching.